This conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. We're at our weekly Supervisors meeting at the courthouse. It's available by GoToMeeting also and recorded for future reference. You have an agenda in front of us. You have a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve.
You have a motion or a second?
I'll second. Go ahead, Mike.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Approve the minutes for the August 13th meeting.
I'll move to approve August 13th meeting.
Have a motion is our second.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
Sydney. Aye. Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Motion passes. County attorney, general discussion. The county attorney's not here today. Sheriff must be busy too. Department head discussion.
Yeah. Conservation Board had our monthly meeting last Tuesday. Items on the agenda, we talked about the vehicle orders. We ordered 2 new trucks. Those will be 90 to 120 days. They'll come in. And then we will be selling 2 of the other trucks, which will offset the cost of purchasing the new ones. Nature Center remodel, the board reviewed the quotes for the roofing project. So that project is, the roofing project is done. We still got to do the interior work. Now we got the exterior sealed up. So now we got to fix the interior, which we'll do over the winter months. Board agreed to an agreement with the Iowa DNR for a wildlife habitat stamp. The board was awarded that grant. I think it's $118,000 to go forward with purchasing a piece of land just east of town here. So that'll move forward with that. Those were the things on the agenda. Other things that were discussed, Elaine was there to talk about what's going on with the bike trail over there in Riceville. We talked about the dam drawdown, which will be beginning on September 11th. So next month we'll start drawing down the reservoir and that project will get underway. Seeding of the trap range area as we're putting that into natives. Let's see here, meeting with the city of Osage on a trail connection and fall conference, and then the weather station at the old county farm has been installed as well. So that's the big stuff on the agenda. Any questions?
Those 2 pickups you're gonna offer in the departments?
So we're gonna sell them because that offsets the cost. We buy a truck for 90,000, we sell them, we get 86, so it doesn't cost the county anything to buy the new trucks, or very little. That was the original plan at budget.
Because we usually offer the other departments first.
Then the county's out the $86,000 revenue.
Well,
That was the reason, that was the way we did it in the budget, was we were gonna get 86,000 back in revenue, and then it was only gonna cost us around 90,000 to buy the new trucks. That way the county tax dollars aren't getting that offset of only costing a few $1,000s to buy 2 new trucks. That was, otherwise the county's out $90,000, there's no revenue on the backside.
yeah, but we done that in the past with all the other pickups. You even got one from the,
We can, but then you lose the $86,000 revenue. So then it's tax dollars are out 90. That's the way the board presented it at budget, was we were gonna sell them, get 86,000 for the 2 trucks, and then buy $90,000 worth of trucks. It only costs the tax dollars $4,000 for $4,000 to $5,000 for new trucks. If we give them to another department, then it's just $90,000 out the door, no revenue on the backside.
right, but you got a pickup from the emergency management for nothing.
Yeah, it was an older truck. We're selling like 2-year-old trucks that are worth some money. So we can go ahead, but then there's no, that 90 or that $86,000 revenue is not coming back in. We can offer them to other departments, but you lose the $86,000 revenue. Doesn't seem like something you should just throw $86,000 out the door when you can make $86,000 and only spend $6,000 to buy new trucks.
Okay.
But, I mean, rest of the board got any thoughts on that?
You discussed it with the board to
Correct.
try this.
Yep.
I was not one way or the other. I kind of questioned it, but I just willing to see how it works, so.
It's just a way, instead of spending $90,000 and you have 4 trucks, you spend $5,000 and you have 2 brand new trucks. Because you got the revenue coming in. I mean, dollars and cents for using taxpayers' dollars is to spend $5,000, get 2 new trucks, not spend $90,000, you got 2 new trucks and no revenue coming in. That's the way we presented this at budget time was, hey, we'll buy 2 new trucks, sell these 2 trucks, make $86,000 on these 2 trucks, put that money towards buying the new trucks. Then it offsets that cost. Otherwise, we're just spending $90,000 on 2 new trucks. So, and we can do that as an entity, which not every department can, but we can, so it helps out. But that money that we make back off those 2 trucks goes right back into the general fund, which is where the trucks are being purchased out. So we're trying to look at it as a win to help offset that cost, so we can make that money type thing back for it type thing. So that way doesn't cost the tax dollars as much to buy new vehicles for the conservation wise type thing. 2 new 2025 trucks and only having to put maybe $5,000 to $6,000, $4,000 to $5,000 into it is pretty cheap, easy cost. I don't think there's anybody in the room or anybody that's going to disagree with spending $6,000 and you get brand new trucks. That makes sense. But if we don't sell the other 2, if we give them to another department, then it's a total of, whatever the cost of the trucks are, which is going to be like $90,000 annual revenue back in it on the backside. So that's the way it was set up at budget time, which was approved, and which is the way the Conservation Board wants to move. So.
And you possibly could do this every 3 years?
We could do this every year.
Oh, every year.
We could do this every year, yep. So then we could next year possibly roll it into 3 trucks. So we get 3 new trucks. It only costs the county, somewhere between, once we sell these trucks that we're buying. So you take the new trucks we get, we have to keep them for a year. Then you sell those trucks after a year's use. You buy 2 new trucks or 3, depending on how you want to do it. And then it ends up costing us, it only costs a few $1,000s, but you're getting brand new trucks every year. Warranty's always covered. And then the revenue on the sale of those trucks is what covers the cost to buy the new trucks. So you're only out a few $1,000s and you get new trucks every year. And then you're not putting large wear and tear on them, and then the motors, everything else is going to be covered under warranty. It's like a lease program, but realistically, the reason we get it and it works out beneficiary wise is you get the state bid on vehicles, which is way lower than what you or me can just go to the dealership and buy. But then you turn around, the used price of vehicles is still extremely high. So that covers your back end on what you sell them for. So we could do this every year. And then that's going to help with maintenance costs long-term for budget-wise. We don't have to put a lot of money into trucks because, as Rich will tell you, once a truck gets a few, 100,000 miles on it, you're just putting parts into it all the time. Here, everything would be covered under warranty, switch it over, and away you go. So the only reason this works out for the Conservation Board is because we buy the trucks on state bid, which are way significantly lower than anybody in this room can go buy from a dealership type thing. We get the state bid prices, which is $47,000 for a 3/4 ton heavy duty truck through the state bid. If we went and bought that ourselves, we're looking at like $60,000 to do that outright yourself. If you went to the dealership and bought it, but because there's a state bid on it, we can get that in 1 year's time. You buy it for $47,000. We did the math on it, and estimated cost is, the Kelly Blue Book on it after a year's worth of our time and miles that we put on it, it's going to be worth $42,000 to $45,000. So turn around and you sell it for that price, and then you got your money back type thing. So it works out that way. We understand. I get what Mark you're saying. We got it, but the truck we got was 100,000+ miles. If you sell it, you're going to get a few $1,000s for it. Here we can sell it to the general public and we can make $42,000 in the tax dollars. We're not spending $90,000 on 2 trucks. We're only spending a couple $1,000s on 2 trucks type thing, which is much more efficient with tax dollars, in my opinion, and Conservation Board's opinion. So, any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other department head discussion?
I had ISG get a hold of me. They're the agriculture inspector that's going to be, if the pipeline goes through, working for us.
Because of the other lateral that's coming through, they wanted to know if we wanted to have them provide that service for that other lateral. It didn't get on, she contacted me after the agenda was finalized, so can you put it on the agenda for next week, Rachel? Discussion possible action with, how do I write it down? Discussion and possible action on ISG agricultural inspection services. We can discuss it.
All right, county engineer update.
Morning. Not a lot to tell you this morning. The T-walls are being delivered for our salt shed. I think tomorrow they'll deliver the final amount. I think they've been kind of slowly filtering in yesterday. Then once they get the loads in tomorrow, they'll start putting the walls up. And I don't know if they'll start construction on the actual hoop building this week, but the schedule was still to start that next week. So get our hoop building put back up and then we can get them out of there and we can put our asphalt and stuff back down and get stuff moving that way. So other than that, not a whole lot going on as far as to report. We're closing out projects and getting new ones started, getting the end report figured out. So that's all I've got this morning.
Bridges on Indigo.
Pardon?
2 bridges on.
I'm supposed to be getting the hydraulics back sometime this week on that, so we can figure something out. I've got those 2, and I've got one in Worth County. They're supposed to get in contact with me today, or not this week. So they told me last week, so we can get that figured out. So. Yep.
I was wondering about the safety concerns about the corner.
The corner
coming out of Riverside that people go.
Yeah, I intended to go over there. I got over to Statesville yesterday. I forgot to go look at that.
I've had calls on it that they can't.
I'll go look at that after the meeting and see what the potentials are there. I think what was stated was there was the natural grasses or what was planted out there might be obstructing the views for people pulling out. I know I've been down there in the past and it could be a concern, but once you get out, if you take your time and get out of those parking lot, the driveway, you can actually see if you can. Don't get in a big hurry to just blow out of the driveways like most people want to, but I'll go take a look at it after the meeting and then I can get a better understanding. I intended to do it yesterday and I was over there and I completely forgot. I was looking at a sign for the city they wanted to relocate, but.
Okay. Yeah.
What driveway's that?
Coming out of Riverside, if you come out the west driveway, you can't see oncoming traffic from the bridge because of the wildflowers, whatever, they're so tall. I don't know, I gave a guy your number, he probably contacted you. Anyway, yeah, so I just have complaints on it, and you can't, I looked, you can't see until you get out about to the center line, you can't see if anybody's coming. And it's growing in the road right away, so it's a
Center line of the road? Center line of the road?
yes, before you can see if anybody's coming. Like if you want to pull out of there and go east, you can't see if anybody's coming.
I'll take a look at it. I know
It's a safety,
it can be. Yep,
go look at it.
speed limit's pretty low through there too, so I know people barrel through there anyway, but
Yeah, but
I'll take a look at it and I can always get with Mike and we can figure out what.
yeah.
Yeah, I know it's the right of way, but we've been trying to plant that stuff in the right of way to kind of reduce the weeds and everything else, but if it's a hazard, then.
Well, I think they're at the stage where they're just getting so tall, at first they were short, now they're so tall.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll look at it.
I calls on, so I just pass them information.
Yep, I intended to look at it yesterday and I forgot when I was looking.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks.
Discussion and possible action on Oage Elevator rebate agreement.
Hello, I just wanted to give you guys an update on the Osage Elevator rebate agreement. As you guys remember, I know it's been a few months since we've talked about it, but a few months ago, you guys approved to move forward with the 80/20 rebate agreement for the Osage Elevator. And I just wanted to give you guys an update on what that estimated assessed property taxes comes to. The total, and so considering the 10-year agreement, which is what you guys approved, a 10-year rebate agreement, giving 80% back to the Osage Elevator. The total, the estimated total in property taxes for the 10 years comes to $270,000. And so giving 80% to the co-op would become to $216,000, and then that leaves the county share at $54,000. So at this point, so Dorsey and Whitney, I've been working with them and they're working on all these proceedings and stuff. And so I would anticipate to start seeing things on the agenda. They have to go through the legal proceedings, public hearings have to be held and that sort of thing. So you'll probably be seeing that on next week's agenda or coming soon. For the purpose of the agreement, they need a not to exceed amount. And so that number would be $216,000. So over the course of the 10 years, you're not exceeding giving the Osage Elevator $216,000. So if you guys are okay with that number, I think we just have to, maybe one of you guys or Rachel has to give it to Dorsey Whitney.
Dorsey was wondering about it, so that's the number.
So what if the assessment goes up, it still stays at?
It stays the same, yeah. It still stays, and this is just the best estimated.
What if the assessment goes, well, I guess it could go down too.
Go down. Mhm.
Stick at that number.
That's the purpose of the not to exceed, because if the assessment goes up and their taxes go up, they might reach that $216,000 in year 8, so to speak. So that's why it's there rather than it continually going up for 10 years and then becoming more than what we originally intended. So yeah, that's why that number's there.
And if it goes the other way, does it go down or not? Not
80% of the tax.
80% not to exceed, okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No. You have a motion for the not to exceed 216,000?
Well, okay, we can do that, but we can certainly do that, but there will be a resolution that's coming to us that'll have all of that on there. So I mean, we can approve it again, but we can do it today too.
So.
That's fine, it's fine, yeah.
You have a motion?
I would move to make that motion, yes.
You have a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion?
Roll call, Todd.
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Cindy. Aye. Jim.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Discussion and possible action on Carpenter wastewater system and 28E agreement.
Morning.
Order.
I came up with a new plan after we talked last week. That's gonna save our city people anyway. We do have enough money in the account to buy one new pump now. We still got our our rebuilt ones on hand. And as long as city council approves the $1,100 a month from AJ, then we get 3 of them a year without even raising the rates or dipping into the other money and I think that'd be a better way of doing it.
When does the city council meet to consider that?
September 9th. And so far, all of them that I've talked to said that they're okay with it.
Good.
I figured that way we're not doing something where we gotta pay something back when we can't afford that anyway.
And then you got another job, right?
Huh?
And then you got another job.
I got another job to add to the rest of the list.
AJ's okay with doing that?
AJ is the one that brought up the agreed price and everything. We just said, we were supposed to vote on it last week, but the one that was talking last week here didn't like the fact of a year contract, but both contracts that AJ presented as a year contract anyway. So, and he'd do the DNR work and all the samples and locates and everything. All I'm doing is pulling the pumps and switching those. So by the time he'd drive into town, they'd be already switched anyway, because I'm right there.
Okay.
Stuff, but,
And I liked,
and we can keep notes as to who's get switched and how many hours and all that stuff, where we're not getting that right now.
I'd like to make sure that you keep us and Carpenter Board updated on your status.
Yep. I appreciate what you said last week. I wish it'd sink into them and stuff, but. And I think the one wording on the agreement from day one, where it says that county's supposed to pay, they should have put on there out of our account and stuff. then they wouldn't have this. Because 3 of them do not understand yet, even after last week.
It just means that she writes a check.
Right.
That's what it means.
Yep. I understand, knew that from day one, but I can't get 3 of them to understand that.
So are they still wanting to do an updated 2080?
I don't know what you can update other than that or the $500 thing, and the most I'd go on that would be 1,000 before. And I always ask Rachel what's in the account before we get anything anyway.
So let's talk about this just a little bit. So let's say there's pumps that need to be purchased. Does AJ purchase them? Do you purchase them? How does that work?
That I don't know yet. I gotta talk to AJ about that. Because right now, AJ, if we need one, he's got the contact in Des Moines to purchase them.
Okay.
And I
So
don't know if that would still be that way or if we'd have to change that.
you guys have to figure that out. How
Right.
you're gonna do that.
Right.
The main thing is that, and this has to do with that $500, somebody needs to contact Rachel and say, how much money do we got? You know,
I do that quite often with her now.
that's very important.
Yep.
So getting to that $500,
So I don't want to get back to when we had Weber doing it and sending in bills when there's no money to pay them. And
so
I don't want to get,
as long as people are contacting Rachel.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference. It's like, if it's, I was nervous when he said $5,000 because.
I didn't want that at all.
So I want some
Yeah.
monitoring here through her.
Right. Yeah, when he said that, that wiped us out in one time.
It could.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stuff, but I can keep you guys informed after our next council meeting what they decide, but I'm pretty sure that they're gonna go for that. That way we can get 3 a year without raising rates and still have a better, handle on everything as to when they get switched, how many hours, all that stuff.
Good, keep a log, yeah. Sounds like you got a good plan.
Just gotta come up there and knock some heads in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing. Here's the environmental health planning and zoning update.
Hi.
Morning.
I mean, so I'm gonna try and do this as quickly but as thoroughly as possible. I gave you guys a packet this morning, so if you guys would like to pull that out, so that way we can kind of go through that. I wanted to start off with my expenses and revenue. I have talked with Rachel. Everything looks great. But when I was reviewing my revenue side, it looks like for some reason, when budgets were entered, my budget was set at 0. So we'll just do an amendment at some point. I don't know why that happened. I don't even know if she knows why it happened. So as of right now, everything looks fantastic because my budget was set at 0 and I have lots of money put in. And I'm going to deposit roughly another $12,000 into my various accounts, probably at the beginning of next month after this month end happens. So for a well update, I wanted to give you guys all of the different costs at the state grant that I go through. Everything has been updated this year, so we're actually getting more money per water test and per well closure and per everything that that grant covers. So I wanted you guys to be able to put your eyes on that and see that. So right now, well closures are getting $700 reimbursement, and then the county gets an extra $100 on top of that. So if we do a well closure in the county, it's gonna be $800 that comes back to the county. Previously, it was $500. So we're gaining money there. For cistern closures, it was, we're now getting $400 with an administrative fee of $100. So we'll get $500 for those. Previously, it was $300. For water tests, previously it was $60 for a reimbursement for an administrative cost, and then whatever the cost for the test was. So it came out to being about $90. Now they've raised it to being $125 for an administrative cost plus whatever the cost of the test is. So we're actually getting $155 compared to the $90 before. So for example, today I've got 4 water tests I've got to take after this meeting. So we're getting roughly $620 for me going out and testing some wells, which I think is pretty impressive, and it's gonna help us use all of that allocated money. And we've taken a lot of tests this year, probably the most this year that we have since I've worked here, so I'm really, really happy to report that. We're still getting new wells drilled in the county. I would say probably at least one a quarter. So I'm happy that our wells are not going dry and we're not having a lot of problems and people aren't having to drill more wells. And there's not a lot of bacteria issues. There's not a lot of E. coli issues. Nitrates really haven't even been a problem this year. I was really shocked about that. I thought it was going to be more of an issue just because we had that substantial rain. But actually a lot of the wells are coming back near perfect. So I'm pretty happy about that. With septic systems, we are on the lower end this year, which is fine because we had a substantial amount of septic systems go in last year. So I kind of expected this year to be a little bit slower. But we've had 20 systems that have been permitted and 17 of them are awaiting installation. A lot of my contractors like to wait until Labor Day because they realize, oh, Labor Day, okay, now it's going to start getting colder. So they like to wait until the last minute to do it. It's totally fine. That's just how the season usually works. But so I'm expecting it to really, I mean, it's been steady, but I'm expecting it to really pick up here after Labor Day. We are still selling radon test kits through my office. They are $11 a piece. We are having time of transfer reports come in pretty often, which just means that we're having more houses sell throughout the county. More acreages are selling. There's nothing bad coming back. I have only had a couple systems that have turned into failures. Like they ran to a field tile, they need to be updated at that point, or they run to the ditch, they need to be updated at that point. So those have been really good. As you guys know, and for anybody out there who's listening, I will be on maternity leave during the winter for 12 weeks. My Board of Health, we talked about this on Friday. They're going to make an official vote probably at our next meeting in October of whether or not they prefer to have someone in office. I am getting the feeling that they're leaning towards the no, but I'm not going to speak for them. That's just kind of the vibe that I got, that they're going to lean towards maybe not having somebody in office just because my predecessor used to take multiple months off in the winter. So that's kind of what I'm feeling, but we're going to place an official vote on that at our next meeting in October. I will be gone this Friday, and I will also be gone next Friday for doctor's appointments, so I will not be in office. When it comes to pumper inspections, I'm not entirely sure if I got dropped off the list for one of the pumper inspections or not. I have to check with the state on that. I was taking over 2 pumper inspections because one of the individuals was in Floyd County and he couldn't perform his own inspection. So as of right now, I've only received paperwork from the pumpers in Mitchell County. I've already completed that and sent that bill off to the state. I'm going to start doing those in the fall instead of in the spring. It's just a lot nicer to do them, you know, late summer, early fall than it is early spring and try and rush to meet the deadline. So that is already done. That payment has been sent through. It was roughly $1,100 for that inspection to take place, and the pumpers passed their inspection. So I'm going to be attending the Iowa Environmental Health Fall Conference on October 9th and 10th. It's in Waterloo this year. They haven't opened registration yet, but once they do, I'm definitely getting on that list because I love that conference. It's so informational, and it's great to get around other environmental health specialists in the state. So I will be registering for that. And lastly, the thing that's not on this list is that the Tahoe will be going in for an oil change tomorrow, and it's going to get entirely detailed inside just because it is really gross. So I wanted to let you guys know that those claims will be coming through. There's going to be 2 separate claims, one for the oil change and then one for the detailing on the side. Are there any questions about environmental health?
For you being gone for 12 weeks.
Yes.
The office still has to work in regards to if somebody has a question or whatever, we can't just shut something down. So if we can make it work that you're gone, that's fine. you may need to answer an email or two once in a while. I'm not really sure how that's gonna work.
Yeah, I need to talk to Aaron about that and see how that would work.
Because if somebody comes in for a question, the answer cannot be, sorry, we're closed. I mean,
Mhm. Yeah, I need to talk to Aaron about how that would work and legally how that would work being on FMLA.
We talked about it at Board of Health meeting, as
Yeah.
far as the environmental health side of it.
Mhm.
They could maybe call our office.
Yeah,
I don't know
that
about
was
planning and zoning, but
Yep, that was another option too for environmental health or
as long,
something.
as long as somebody's available to answer a question, some questions can wait, but some can't wait.
Right.
Well, even if it's something, having someone you're close with in another county, that we can call and say, hey, call this person, that kind of knows, I would just maybe get someone in your back pocket to do that, right?
Yep, yeah, that's always another option too. I have a conference coming up, or it's not a conference, it's more of a meeting, a regional meeting coming up. I believe it's next month with all of the people in our region who are environmental health specialists, and I can talk to them and just say, if you have any questions, call this number, who would be willing to do that. There's a lot of really, really good trustworthy environmental health specialists in our area, so.
It'd be good. We need a plan of some sort.
Yep. All right, any other questions about environmental health?
I have one. So well closures.
Yep.
At some point, I mean, we'll always have people drill new wells. At some point, will you have old wells completely closed?
I hope so. I mean, that's the hope. Having multiple wells tapped into an aquifer can actually create more of a chance of having bacteria in your water. So I'm hoping that with people who don't have functioning wells on their property, they're still tapped in, but they're not hooked up. I'm hoping that they would eventually close them. A lot of people just still aren't aware of the program, but I can't force people to close their wells.
Sure.
They have to contact either me or someone, and I have to the only way I would be able to force someone to do it is if I had actual knowledge of the well not being hooked up, and I'm not in the business of going on people's property and scouting. So that just doesn't make for good PR.
Yeah.
So they have to contact me, or they have to contact a well closure company. We actually have two in the county. It's Adams Plumbing and Heating, and Kenny's also does it as well. So there are options to have it done.
So that kind of answers my question, I think. You don't know how many are out there.
I wish I did.
Okay.
I wish I did.
That answers my question.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I did. There's a lot of wells too. So the current state system, it's getting a revamp. But the current state system, it's very particular on how you can even find a well. It either has to have a certain well number, or it needs to be assigned to somebody's name specifically. And even then you can't put in, spouses or anything into that. It has to be very, very specific. You can't look it up by address. It will not find it. So it's very specific. So I'm hoping with this revamp, it'll actually become a lot easier to be able to find wells in the county. And if one closes, then I can mark that on the system, but that's through the state. So I wouldn't be able to guarantee that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we will move on to the expense and revenue for planning and zoning. Everything looks great. I'm pretty sure, I have my other budget here. I'm pretty sure that we're actually pretty close to hitting budget for the year. Through the planning and zoning side. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, we're pretty close. So, and I'm expecting a lot more revenue to come in, and I will talk about that later. So we're looking really, really good budget-wise on my end. The big question, the CWEX process. I have given you guys a paper, and you will see it. It's pretty easy to distinguish. It is highlighted. And I've highlighted certain things throughout this email. With the wind ordinance, it's going really, really well for the most part. So we have a draft done. There are, well, let me go back. I reached out to our Council of Governments because I wanted someone who had more experience with creating ordinances to put their eyes on this draft and possibly give feedback. They were also present, this individual was also present at one of the wind ordinance meetings that I had with the wind company. And there was a lot of feedback on how things could be revised structurally, procedurally. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm a novice at this. I don't even know where to start on how to get it to properly fit into our ordinance. So I reached out to them just because we are a member of the Council of Governments, and I wanted to see what a possible cost would be to have a professional who does this for a living help us out, because again, I'm a novice at this. I do not write ordinances for a living. So if you guys look at this paper, it would be pretty much, this cost would be to help prepare the amendment regarding the CWEX ordinance to our zoning ordinance. And this cost is strictly due to the amount of time and involvement that is required for renewable energy. It takes a lot of time to create an ordinance. As you guys know, we started this process last year and we aren't even through creating a draft yet. So the base price of this would be $3,500 plus mileage for the base price of having our Council of Governments help with preparing the ordinance and draft and adapting to the current draft that we already have. That was my biggest thing, was I wanted what was already written, what has already been discussed with the Planning and Zoning Commission. I didn't want to change things to make it fit like it would with other counties. I want it specific for Mitchell County because that's what was discussed with the commission. They're more than willing to do exactly whatever we would want as a county. Prepare the revisions. Consultation is a big one. Attending the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing, because once we have an official draft, I will need to hold another meeting for them to be able to review that. Attending public hearings and readings for adopting the ordinance before the Board of Supervisors. So when you guys go through your readings of this ordinance, the individual from the Council of Governments will be here to answer any questions on why things were maybe changed, and I'll be here too. Just assistance needing the general ordinance adoption process, because this is my first time doing this. I do need that assistance. And then something that I actually really appreciate about this quote is that they would help address utility scale and or commercial scale battery storage. That's something that a lot of counties are doing right now, completely separate ordinances. They would address this at no additional charge in this ordinance. So I would really appreciate that. I love that it's for no additional charge too. Do you guys have any questions about that?
Correct me if I'm wrong, so the ordinance that was drafted for Mitchell County was based off of another county's ordinance, which was fairly restrictive.
Multiple county, I want to clarify, multiple
Okay.
county ordinances.
Okay, so-
We had at least 10 lined up on our desks when we were drafting this, yes.
So it's not a, I'll call it user-friendly ordinance for the wind turbine people. It's also not to chase them away.
It rides the very fine line of trying to make everything work for everyone in the county and also the wind company.
Okay.
Yes, the
So
wind company is satisfied with everything that is a main concern for them. They're happy with what's in the ordinance right now.
So we already have an ordinance, and the reason for this is that the ordinance can have procedural difficulties since we are zoned, since Mitchell County is zoned.
Mhm.
The way the ordinance is drafted, there can be procedural conflicts with our already zoned
Correct.
planning and zoning
Correct.
ordinance.
And that was something that I would have never picked up on after, going through the process of writing it. I didn't even pick up on the fact that procedurally it was different, just because we are a 100% county that does zoning. So, yes.
So the purpose of what this is not to completely change the ordinance, but it's to address those procedural difficulties.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And trying to rework that I wouldn't even know honestly how to start with the revisions of how to rewrite it, because I thought that I did it right the first time and it was not correct. And that's fine. I have no problem admitting that and admitting that I need help.
Well, that's why there's consultants. Sometimes you need people to help.
Right.
Things, all of us do.
Right.
That's why we hire people. So.
Right. So that is the quote. I would really like to be able to reach out to our Council of Governments and have them help, and have this process move along. Because I have talked to the wind company. If worst case scenario happened and we had to do some sort of amendment to our resolution to extend the moratorium, they are fully on board with that, just because they want everything done correctly for not only them, but also for Mitchell County. But that's the last thing that I want to do is extend this moratorium. I don't want to have to do that. I'm sure you guys wouldn't want to have to do that either. So since it's not really my decision, it's kind of your guys' decision, but that's the last thing my office would like to see. So if we could possibly, get going on this and have this take place, that would make life a lot easier. So I don't know if there needs to be, I guess it's not on the agenda for discussion and possible action. Does it need to be? Okay. So I don't know if you guys can decide of whether or not we can move forward with this or not, or if there's any discussion on it at all.
There's other counties that have already got their ordinance in place, right? Like Floyd County, I think.
No, Floyd County's is not in place right now. I can tell you, being very vague, they're having issues. They're having issues. That's all I'll say about it.
Okay, that's fine. I just, hear from different.
Yep. No, they do not have their, unless I missed their meeting, they do not have their ordinance in place.
Okay. Are other counties going this route too, or you don't?
I can tell you that a lot of novice ordinance, people who are trying to create an ordinance who are novice, really seek out their Council of Governments, because that's what they're paid to do. They're paid to help create ordinances. So would you guys be okay with me reaching out to our Council of Governments and having them help?
Let's put it on the agenda for next week.
Okay, that's why I need
discussion of possible action, and then we can.
Okay, so you guys can think about it for a week. If you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to come to my office and ask me about it. But yeah, so that is that. Moving on. Down the page, it says Bitcoining mining facility. There was an individual from a company who came into my office asking about whether or not they could put a Bitcoin mining facility in the county. We don't have any of those in the county previously, so I put together a subcommittee of my Board of Adjustment, and this Thursday, so in 2 days, me and these two individuals will be traveling down to Cedar Falls to take a tour of a Bitcoin mining facility through this company, and I will bring the applications and everything that they need for this facility to call the Board of Adjustment to order. They're going to see exactly what it does, sound, how much space it takes up. They're going to be taking a tour through their offices, all of that kind of stuff. There's just a lot that goes into these kind of facilities. I can tell you that the facility wants to be located right outside of town, and that was my main concern with wanting them to take a tour, because from other counties, I have heard that these are quite loud, and I don't want to have to disrupt people who are in town here, and they run 24/7. So it's not like it's a 9 to 5 where they shut off, they run constantly. So I wanted them to be able to see that, and I also wanted to be able to put my eyes on that, so we will be traveling and taking a tour. It's gonna take about half a day to about 3/4 of a day, so I will be out of my office for most of the day on Thursday. When it comes to solar farms in the county, 2 solar farms were approved for development with the same company that we actually previously approved a conditional use permit for right outside of Valent. One will be located right outside of Little Cedar off of 430th and Primrose. The other one will be located right off of Walnut and Highway 9, right west of Riceville. And they're roughly about the same size. They're gonna be 10 to 13 acres in size. And these are on private grounds, so we have already issued the conditional use permits. They have had conditions placed against them, such as when they do their drilling process to put the stakes in the ground for the actual solar panels to stand on. They have to cut off their time for construction on that at 5 o'clock because that can be quite noisy. So we don't want to disrupt, afternoon activities for family and everything like that. There were some other conditions, but they're escaping my brain right now. So we have that. Building permits, we average about 30 a year, and we've had 24 this year so far, and all 24 have been approved. 14 of those have actually been new construction homes, and 10 of them were for farm use buildings. So I like that more of them were actually for homes. It means that we're either having more people move into the county or people in the county are looking to build and then maybe possibly sell to some individuals who live in the county who maybe are renting or whatnot. So the zoning map update, I was recently in the zoning map app on my computer and found that I am for some reason now labeled as a read-only user. I used to have full access and I'm unable to make changes right now. So I need to reach out to either the ArcGIS person or I haven't had a chance to formally go into Ryan's office and talk with him. But there could be something on our end where, maybe something just got switched on the ability to see something on my end and actually get in there and make changes. So that's a work in progress. I really wanted to start working on that this winter, but other plans have come up. So that is under my future plans. Other future plans, I want to digitize all my files. So currently, right now, if you guys have been in my office, I have filing cabinets that are just plumb full of papers, and I would love to take all those papers and digitize them and put them on my computer. So that way, when someone asks me for records, I can just pull up a certain address or whatnot, and I've got it. It's there, it's done, it's easy. And I would also like to, at some point, digitize all of the zoning meeting minutes, whether that be Board of Adjustment or whether that be Planning and Zoning Commission. I want to digitize and post all of those meeting minutes that I have on record. I don't know how far back I need to go. I've got until like 1980, so I don't know how far back I'll go, but I do want to start doing that. Other than that, that should be my update. Do you guys have any questions?
I got one on that Bitcoin.
Yep.
If you guys would approve that, at some point, if I'm hearing right, will they build a building by that substation?
Yep. So they have to put up some, I don't know if it's a hoop building or I don't know what kind of building it is, but they do have to put up some sort of structure because there's a lot of servers. And obviously if it rains, snows, gets on that, the servers are toast. It's a lot of electronic stuff from what I understand. So they will be putting a building up outside of that substation, yes.
Okay, so if that happens, is that on agriculture ground? Is it on the county? Who owns that substation?
So that's a good question. So it was the industries that's there. It was their ground, but I don't know if the substation itself is owned by Heartland. So I think where they would put the building, it would be through the industry that owns it, and that is zoned as industrial, light industrial.
So they would be paying some sort of property tax?
I would think, yeah, that would be, yeah, I would think so. And that would also be a question maybe for Amy, since I'm not 100% on property taxes, but because the building is going up, I would think that they would be entitled to some taxes on that.
Unless it's a portable building, then it's not.
So I also talked to them just because, and so they told me that they don't pay property taxes because of it's like a data center, so there must be exempt, so, I mean, that's what they told me.
Oh, that's what I was wondering.
So that would be something to ask Amy maybe, since she's the one who deals with all of the property taxes. I don't know about any of the exemptions or anything that goes along with that. I just handle the buildings.
Just out of curiosity, Rachel, do you know if that substation pays any property tax?
One, I don't know where it's at, but if I had a parcel number, I can look it up.
I can get it from you too.
Okay.
That raises a really interesting question, because if you're going somewhere to see how the facility operates and it's very loud and questionable if we want them in certain locations, and then they build something and provide nothing in property tax to the county, it's kind of like, why do we even want you here?
They would be creating jobs.
Are there people in there, or is it all remote?
No, I think there's
That's gonna be
possibly
something
7 or
I will find out on Thursday.
Okay,
I am not
possible
100%
7
sure.
to 8 jobs
okay.
said and done. And the reason Cedar Fall, they went and talked to them is they need a huge amount of, I'm not sure if this is right, megawatts or something. Well, Cedar Falls had a lot of extra, Mitchell County or wherever this, we have a lot of extra. The town of Cedar Falls utilities actually went down by 3% because they were using all the extra megawatts or whatever it is. But they're the first people that get shut off if the city needs more megawatts. I mean, that's in a contract. So I've been hearing the number of a 25 to 28 megawatts or whatever it is called extra here. If our city for some reason needs more, or our county, let's say, they're the first ones to get shut down for it to be used for residential, commercial, whatever.
So they do put something into the county then as far as jobs, and they're buying electricity that I was thinking of that, I was thinking, well, what's the purpose of?
We're gonna find out on
Yeah,
Thursday.
Yeah, I think they'll be real surprised on how much Cedar Falls likes them. But again, I'm just been talking with a few of the people that are involved, and it's kind of over my head, but.
Yeah.
But we'll let her find out, and and Jenny and.
I've reached out to other counties, and I can tell you that there are mixed feelings throughout the state about them. So that I can't take someone's word over another. I need to see it for myself. My board needs to see it for themselves. That's why I've decided to set up the subcommittee and have them see it firsthand. And then whenever this meeting does take place, that subcommittee will pretty much be the executive speakers on how they felt about their experience. And they can relay that to other board members. And obviously, I'm going to tell the other board members that they need to do their own research before coming to the meeting. But 2 out of the 5 will at least have first hands-on experience with it. So it'll be interesting. I can keep you guys updated on that. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. So.
Isn't it the cooling fans that they don't like because they're running all the time and noisy?
Your guess is as good as mine. I've never been in one, so I don't know. I'll find out on Thursday.
I think that's too why they chose this location, so it's a substation owned by Valent, from what I've been told, so I think that's another reason they chose that particular area, just because they know it's somewhat louder. But.
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure, but we will definitely see. My biggest concern is that I don't want there to be any disruption to individuals who live near the area. It is right outside of town. So even if, you're within 1,000 feet and you can still hear it, that's my biggest concern. And we can always place conditions if it does get approved, we can always place conditions on the permit that says that they can't exceed a certain, sound decibel. But just want them to be able to see it firsthand, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Home health, public health update?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So we had our Board of Health meeting last Friday. I emailed you guys our board report. Did you guys all get that? Okay. I'm definitely not gonna go through that whole thing, but just point out a few things. So I haven't been here since the end of the fiscal year 24. So just kind of want to point out, we were sitting really good for fiscal year 24. We actually originally asked for like about $385,000 of county money. And we only ended up using about $126,000. So it's quite a bit less than what we did. We try our best not to use as much county money as we budget. So we try our best to write more grants and get out there and provide more services. So just wanted to point that out. FY25, since July started, we're sitting really good on that. We brought in about $90,000 in revenues. Expenses were about $90,000 also. So any questions on the expenses and revenues? Just wanted to give you guys a staffing update. I have hired a new nurse. She started at the beginning of August. She'll just be working 1 day a week and helping out on getting on the holiday and weekend rotation. So it's exactly what we needed. We do have a nurse on medical leave, so once she comes back, we will be, I would consider, fully staffed on the nurse's side. So we still have another PRN nurse that came back from retirement helping out while that nurse is off. So I would say our home health, on the home health side, our census is probably about 74, got about 4 or 5 admissions or referrals sitting on the board right now. I think since we've been here last, we've had about 34 home health admissions. Most of the referrals coming through are probably from the local hospital and the clinics and self. We get a lot of people calling on their own. I think I've kind of said that before. It seems to be consistent. And I think I looked at the data about the discharges that we have. About 90% of them are going, discharging at home to self-cares where they don't need any more cares. So we try to keep that. Don't really have too much other. I am going to be writing a Shop on State grant to kind of update some nursing equipment that's just out of date that we just need to kind of update. So going to work on that. Did you guys have any questions on anything in the report? I wasn't really going to go over much more than that. I know we got flu season coming up and Jessa's probably going to go over some of that, but we got that coming up next month, so we'll be pretty busy with that.
How much money did you think you were gonna need for the Shop on State grant that you're talking about?
I think their max is at 1,500 or 2,000. So.
And that's due here soon.
So, yeah, it just came out. So it's due like middle or end of September, so.
And you can have that written and sent.
Yep, oh yeah. Yeah, it's pretty easy application, and we usually do one every year. So it's pretty easy to write.
Okay,
So,
good, because they're very good, so.
yeah, it's always great we always try to utilize that and help us out with any kind of equipment or anything we need, so.
And the equipment is, you don't need that yesterday, right?
No, we just need to, it's equipment they're using now, but it's used, what we need to update it, because it's equipment they use every day, it's wear and tear, and it needs to get updated, so.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so the public health side of things, a lot of things were in the report too. You can
go back to that, so I won't go over everything. It just makes it easier for you guys to read through instead of me sitting up here and keep talking as well too. So we did do a couple events out in the community, and we were at the fair, and then Heartland always asks us to come in every other year for their appreciation. So good for us to have that exposure out there, and let people know what we do, and then provide some services there for them that we are out in the communities providing for as well too. Immunizations. I did have to submit my annual report, which was attached to the document that Laura sent out. So you will see the immunization services that have been provided here. This is for all of Mitchell County, not just of what public health has done, but everyone that resides in Mitchell County. You'll see where we're at for that. We are starting the VFA program. I have a meeting on that next week. So VFA program is vaccines free for adults. So anyone that's uninsured, underinsured, we will be applying for this to have vaccines for them. It's any type of vaccine that we'll be able to provide for any adult, which would be 18 and older, if they don't have the insurance or they're grandfathered into an insurance and it doesn't cover any vaccines too. So that'll be huge. Expect to see that here during flu COVID time to start up, and we will have having vaccines for those individuals then. We are starting, I am gearing up now too for flu COVID. This is going to take over the next 3 to 4 months. So we'll be very busy with that, traveling to businesses. We will, something I forgot to ask Mike, we will need a truck to transport the trailer. So if you want to look into getting a truck for us to use, I'm not sure when we're traveling yet, but Laura and I are sitting down this week just to figure out where we're going to have the community-based clinics, drive-throughs. So I will let you know when we need that truck. But
For sure by mid-September.
Yes,
Probably,
yeah. Reportable cases, super busy, always busy this time of the year. We've had seven campy cases, 1 crypto, 1 giardia, 2 salmonella, and 2 E. coli shigatoxin. A couple of exclusions that have been put out there for the E. coli's that are just getting back into place. The exclusions are getting lifted. 2 new reportable cases that we do have to follow up with for the state, that if someone gets diagnosed with these illnesses, they are reportable, so we will be contacted. I will do a follow-up case with that too, so just adding more on the agenda for the reportable cases of that. Mental health prescriber will be starting here in 9 days. Oh yeah, 9 days. So she will be here on Thursday. We have been working, we've had referrals already go to them, so we're just working on those kinks. I'm sure there's gonna be more kinks in the process too, but they will be coming to town to start that next week, so we are excited for that program to be starting out of our building. Public health alignment, just to give you a little bit of update, I'm sure you guys hear about that. I'm sure if you guys go down to any of the meetings this week for ISAC, you'll hear about this as well the behavioral health alignment. They are putting a hold on the public health alignment for now. It will not hit legislation until fiscal year 2026, if that. So they have made it known that there will be a presence of public health in all 99 counties. It's just going to look differently funded, how we're funded, and what that's going to look like. We don't know a lot of information other than those words coming from the state at this time, but it has been put on hold. Instead of taking place here for fiscal year 25, it'll be fiscal year 26 for any public health alignment changes. So I know there's lots of concerns out there. So if you guys do attend ISAC this week, they're talking about it. Just there's lots of talk going on about the behavioral health, public health. So you guys will be informed there. There's lots of negative things being portrayed out there, but there will be a presence in all counties. It's just going to look different of how that is.
Is there a reason why it was put on hold?
Just because they're realizing with the behavioral health alignment, I think they've gotten themselves in too deep. It takes a lot longer. They've already pushed so many things back with the behavioral health. It's bigger than what they expect to. So they're learning a lot of things from doing the behavioral health changes, that the alignment will look different for the public health too. So yeah, we're already putting lots of things in place from the state that way too. So we'll see what it looks like. Is it going to be the same as the behavioral health? Are we going to go differently? So,
But you're still going to be here.
Yes.
They say there's gonna be a presence. It may change administrative and how it's budgeted. For example, our emergency preparedness grant that we get, the Cerro Gordo is actually the fiscal, the fiscal agent, so they hold the grant. They do all of the administrative paperwork and we report to them. We do the services here. We send our invoices and any work to them and then they pay us. So they get paid from the state. And so it's eliminated a lot of administrative paperwork for especially the small counties like us. So I can see it going that way, but who knows? But
We have no idea what it's gonna look like, but those are the comments that the state has made to us. Director Garcia herself has made these two comments to us recently. And I know there's gonna be a lot more information coming at ISAC this week with that. So I don't know if you guys are attending that, but, and I know they're putting together some one-pagers for Board of Supervisors because there's a lot of Board of Supervisors are saying things that aren't portrayed the truth and not anything from you guys, but other counties. And so I think they just wanted to get the word out and what it's gonna look like for the future of that as well.
Who's putting out one-pagers?
The state is.
The state?
Yes, of what it's gonna look like and how it's gonna go forward.
they have told us they're gonna put more communication out to the Board of Supervisors, so we're hoping that is the case.
And that'll be disseminated at the ISAC or?
I'm not sure. I'm heading down there on Thursday for the public health thing, and we are talking about it. It's actually on our agenda that day. And I know our public health president for ISAC was planning on going to the Board of Supervisors. There must be some meeting down there for ISAC where Board of Supervisors are present and having conversations of that there too. So I don't know exactly what that looks like, but we will get a one-pager on that. And again, we have another year before this takes anything into effect, so plan on things staying the same until we hear more and get updates too, so.
Did any of you guys go to the ISAC meeting?
Yeah.
You are? Okay. So hopefully you guys hear something. You'll have to report back if you hear.
Good.
And if I get any information on Thursday in our meeting that we're in, I know it's on our agenda that we plan on discussing that. I will pass it on as soon as we get stuff too. So it's just hard because we don't know. We've been told very little as well. And I think people have portrayed it to be different than what it really looks like. And so it's good for that communication. And I think that's why Garcia got on and said, hey, this is what it's going to look like. This is what I can tell you right now. We're holding it off. There's going to be a presence. And so
There's a lot of fear with the unknown right now, so.
There's different meetings we could sign up for, and I actually don't remember which one I signed up for, or if that one's just gonna be a general one for everybody. If there was a meeting
I would hope that that would be
discussing
for
roads,
everybody.
I probably would have magneted to that right away, but.
yeah, and so I'll give you guys updates if I get any on Thursday too. And as we get any, we'll let you know, but I do know it's being held off till fiscal year 26. And what that looks like there too. So, otherwise, my other report in here is for quality for home health. You guys can review that as needed too, but you guys can defer to this report for anything else that you guys can have.
I do want to point out, we have upgraded to a 4-star quality rating. That new report just came out, so I just wanted to point that out. The average is usually about 3.5 stars for most. So we've upgraded to a 4, so that's a good thing. We've worked hard to try to increase those star ratings, so.
Awesome.
Any questions for me?
So you may have said it, the behavioral health districts. You have a map here, and
Yeah, it's probably not in color. Is it in
It
color
is
on
in
the
color,
computer?
yeah.
Okay, good.
I don't know this, so the public, you're thinking that there's a chance that the public health districts be the same as this, or is it guaranteed it's gonna be the same as
It's
this?
not
or we
guaranteed.
just don't?
We have no, there's so many different
There's so
maps out
many
there
maps.
and districts. We have no idea what route. I would think that now that the behavioral health districts are kind of going in place, we'll follow suit. But there's maps for, our service area too looks so different from this map here, so we have no idea what to expect. We don't know if there'll be ASOs like behavioral health districts going to. We don't know anything, what that looks like.
Because our emergency preparedness region is different than our region too. I mean, our minimum too, so it's, I would hope that they would stay with one map, but yeah. It's
Hard to tell. Any other questions?
No?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
guys.
you very much. Approved fireworks permit. Fireworks permit for Russ Nelson for the Cedar River Sportsman's Park, August 31st. Starts at 8:30 and ends at 9:10.
I will move to approve the
Got a
fire.
motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Roll call, Todd,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Sydney,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye. Passes. Approve agreement to give contributions to senior sites. $1,500 for the St. Ansgar Saints Senior Center. Resolution is 1240-24.
Move to approve resolutions 1240-24.
Got motions or second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion?
Roll call, Sydney,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
And then we have a approve agreement to give contributions to the St. Ansgar Heritage Museum. Resolution of 1241-24. $4,000 to the St. Ansgar Heritage Museum and History Center. To approve them.
I will move to approve that.
Got motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
I have one question. I haven't been up that way. Are they in that building? They did get everything moved and,
Back to the old Neely's Dairy
yeah,
building in St. Ansgar by the rescue fire station.
okay.
Move back in there.
I wasn't real sure when they asked for the money to work on the repairs on it. I wasn't sure. Again, I should probably drove up and looked at it, but if they were completely in.
Yep, they were in South Square. The rent got too high, so they moved out back to their building.
Thank you.
Yes.
Roll call, Todd,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Sydney.
Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on tax abatements.
I'll speak a little bit on it. So the one is for the property in New Haven that's getting cleaned up right now. It wasn't the way that the names hit, and so there's taxes for that. And then the other is for the city of St. Ansgar, that house that they use, that's just north of their shop that Amy talked about last year. I did look for next year, it is exempt, but the timing of it, so the taxes still got sent out. So we abated those ones last year too.
So one of them was for $804, one of them was $144.
Move to approve abatement order 345 and 346.
Have motions or second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
Roll call, Todd,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Sydney.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Approve recorder's monthly report for July. Yeah. Report from Hannah for total fees for the county is $7,453.26.
So moved.
Motion or second?
No second.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
Sydney.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Items of note, meetings attended.
I had a North Iowa Juvenile Detention meeting, purchase a youth new Ford Explorer, because the one they have has over 300,000 miles on it, wearing out. There's a comment in regards to the county social services map, which we were just talking about a little bit ago, the behavioral map. One of the comments was that doing what the state's doing to this, it's going to be equality will not benefit all the regions. But another comment on it was that the regions aren't going to be populated. The reason for that first comment is all the regions are not going to be the same population. At least some down in the southwest part are going to have harder access to places as compared to people that live close to Des Moines or Mason City or whatever. So the first was equality will not benefit all the regions because of that. But a second comment was that all the regions are going to be treated equally, but will not be funded equally. Now, I don't know all the specifics to the details of what the state's doing, and I'm not really sure where I fit in on those comments, to be honest, but I know it's been a big controversial thing and still is. Anyway, for their detention report, their census has dipped somewhat in the last 2 months, but they expect that to go up because the school's going to be starting. So they think their census will go back up. They've done training with their staff on mechanical restraints, which is handcuffs and shackles. It's just odd we're talking about juveniles here, but it's the way it is. They also purchased body cameras, which are going to be now mandatory while transporting any juvenile out of the facility. The number one goal is going to always be the safety and security of the kids. Again, we're talking kids, and we're also talking handcuffs and shackles. Just doesn't seem to fit, but they stressed that with their staff that they're going to have to do better at communication and documentation between shifts to shift, because when a new shift comes on the line, they don't necessarily know all the details of the maybe what happened with the situation. So they admit they need to be better at communicating from shift to shift so that everybody knows what's going on. I think that's good for that. I had a Osage City Council meeting last night. I plan to do 18 blocks of PCC paving. Next year it's being proposed. It's came in quite a bit over budget. So they're trying to decide just if they want to pare things down or just how they're going to do it. That's about the highlight of that. So that's all I had.
By the conservation board meeting, Mike went over that, and public health meeting, and they went over that.
I had none.
I had a FMC early childhood. It's on everything that public health talked about, the districts and stuff, and Jim talked about. There's no changes through 2025. So it's interesting that they sent out a map of where we're going, and right now we're in with like 9 counties. According to this document, it'll be the full northeast corner of Iowa, and it'll move to 16 counties. But we have no idea if we'll still have our meetings in Floyd County or if it'll move around, or they sent it to us, but I don't know if there's any in stone, because we have no changes through 2025. So more to come. So that's it.
Alrighty. Clerk of court report for July, yeah, $2,183.30. Clerk reports. Public comments. Any public comments? We'll adjourn the meeting at 9:50. Okay.
Don't know, man.
Okay,